Welcome to Cooking with a Hint of Science. I'm Dr. Tina. You might have noticed my very stylish glasses here. What am I doing today? Today, we're gonna find out why do onions make you cry? And what can you do to help stop it? And at the end of this, we're gonna make a flatbread with caramelized onions and a honeyed goat cheese drizzled with a balsamic vinaigrette. It's gonna be amazing, so stick with me. So first off, let's talk about these glasses. What they are onion goggles. They help prevent the tear gas from coming in. So what about the onion makes your eyes water? What it is the onion cells contain sulfur. And when you cut the onion, it releases a gas. Now that gas can mix with water and it produces an acid. Okay, what about your eyes? Well, the water in your eyes is where that acid is made. No wonder it burns, and that's why you're getting the tears. So there's a few helpful tips if you don't want to wear the goggles to cut the onions. First off, let's talk about the type of onion. The sweet onions contain less sulfur, so they actually will cause less tearing in your eyes, followed by the yellow onion, a red onion, and then the most tear-causing in general is our white onions. Today I'm going to be caramelizing the sweet onion because I like that they contain more sugar. Really pulls out that intense caramel flavor when you caramelize them. So what can we do to make my sweet onion not make me cry if I don't want to wear those really awesome goggles? First things first, sharp knife. Make sure you use a really sharp one because when you cut into the onion, you're cutting apart the cells. Those cells release that gas. So if you can make a really straight cut, you're disturbing fewer cells, less gas produced. Also, a little less effective, but why not try it? Have a candle lit in your kitchen. The gas can also be attracted to that candle and burn up before it hits your eyes. My other most helpful tip to you is you can keep an onion in the freezer for about 20 minutes or the fridge for about 30 minutes. All those gases get kind of sucked in the cell. They aren't moving around very much and they'll have more trouble releasing, getting to your eyes. So I've got an onion in the fridge. It's been here for about a half an hour, and it's another sweet onion. So we're going to cut these onions up. You probably have heard that a lot of the gas lives a little bit more around the root. So we're going to just cut this onion in half here. All right, take off the skin. Perfect. Let's get one more layer of that skin off. There we go. All right. So we're just going to cut this onion root to tip. Now, one of the things with caramelizing onions is you don't actually want your slices too thin. It's more likely to burn the thinner the slice. So you're aiming for about a little less than 1/4 of an inch, maybe closer to 1/8. Just like that. Perfect. All right, so I'm gonna cut up a total of 3 onions for our pizza today, and then I'll show you how we're gonna caramelize those. I've got about 3 of our sweet onions all cut up here, medium size, not too big. And in the pan, I've just got heated up 2 tablespoons of butter and some olive oil. I'm gonna add in these onions. Now, you may be wondering why butter and olive oil? Well, butter, because it tastes amazing, right? But also, butter has a lower smoking point, so it's more likely that you're going to burn the caramelized onions. So that's why you add in the olive oil. It has a higher smoking point. So you're getting together both the flavor and less chance of this burning. So right now I've got this the stove on a medium-high heat. I'm mixing these onions up in the butter oil solution here. Now you don't want the pan too full of onions. That would cause the onions to steam. So as soon as I get these coated here, I'm actually just going to leave them. I'm going to leave them be. What's beautiful about onions is they're actually naturally high in sugar. Who knew? But they are. That sugar is going to draw out at the bottom right at the heat here and caramelize. the sugar will actually crystallize, and that's going to give it that beautiful caramel flavor and color. Really an intense sweetness and savory. It is going to be so good on our flatbread later today. Now, caramelizing onions takes a little while. We can expect that this is going to take somewhere between a half hour to an hour. I'm going to guess about 45 minutes for this amount of onions. So we're just going to let it be, and I'm going to stir it probably every 3-ish minutes. The trick is, you want it to caramelize, but don't let it burn. So you kind of have to watch it. We're probably going to have to turn down the heat at some point. I'm still on medium-high right now, and that's fine for right now. At about the 10-minute mark, I'm going to add some salt. That's going to further draw out some moisture to keep this moist. And don't be afraid to add a little water. If you think this is going to burn, just mix it right in there. It'll be okay. The other thing I wanted to show you is our flatbread. I made some dough last night, and this could not be any easier. Now, of course, you can buy pre-made flatbread. That's fine. This was so easy. It is literally 2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon salt, 1/4 teaspoon of yeast. I mixed those dry ingredients together, stirred in 3/4 cup of water, and I just covered this bowl overnight. This has been 24 hours. It's all risen and beautiful, so I'll be baking this flatbread in just a little bit. All right, the onions have caramelized. You can see how much they've reduced. Way far less. So they're somewhere right in the happy place between the blonde and the burnt. They're just perfect. Also, I've heated my oven to 400 degrees. In it, I like to do it on a baking stone, but you can do it on a baking sheet if you like. I've pulled out my flatbread and I've sprinkled some dried Italian seasoning on it. I'm going to put this in the oven for just 5 minutes to pre-bake the flatbread before I add the onions. So right now, I'm actually going to pull the onions out of the pan. There's a lot of leftover brown goodness in this pan, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to reduce just a little bit of balsamic vinegar. Literally pour in balsamic vinegar and let it reduce and soak up everything left from these onions, and it's going to be an amazing topping for our flatbreads. The caramelized onions are done. Our flatbread is par-baked, and I've got about 5 ounces of goat cheese here and a tablespoon of milk. I'm just going to whisk it in really quick to make it a little bit more spreadable for our flatbreads here. Perfect. Now this is a honey-infused goat cheese, and I think that's going to be so amazing with our savory sweet onions. So I'm just going to spread it out over our flatbread. 2 little personal flatbreads, just perfect for a Sunday evening. All right, 1 more here. Perfect. Put the caramelized onions right on top of that. Oh, perfect. Sweet, savory, tangy. We've got it all right here. Look at those beautiful onions. All that sugar kind of crystallized on the outside, just like we hoped for. Oh, and it's true. Now, if you have extra onions, don't be afraid to use them tomorrow. You can put them on your salad, in soups. There are so many uses for caramelized onions. Oh, perfect. So I'm going to put these back into the oven at 400 degrees for 10 minutes. We're going to finish it off with some delicious toppings. Check out these flatbreads, fresh out of the oven. The goat cheese is kind of melted. The onions are perfect. So we're going to add some arugula for freshness. Just a little bit on each little flatbread. Oh, yes. Think about this. The sweet part of the onions all caramelized. The tart goat cheese. This is that balsamic reduction I made right after we cooked the onion, so it's got all that brown goodness in it. Oh my gosh, could this be the perfect food? And you know what? The onions didn't even make us cry. What a night. So thank you for joining me with cooking with a hint of science.